I would like to extend my profound appreciation for our esteemed speakers and participants who are present today. I would also like to note that we have simultaneous interpretation for English and French. And just as a way of background, I would like to indicate that Amani Africa has prepared this handbook as a way of documenting the procedures, the practices and traditions of the Peace and Security Council. This document, which is very important, also serves as an independent and authoritative reference material on the Council. Amani has also prepared this document in close consultation with the Peace and Security Council, Secretariat, the Peace and Security Department, and of course, member states. We had the privilege of launching this inaugural handbook a few days back on 16th of September with the support and in close collaboration with the PSC chair for the month for September, His Excellency Ambassador Mohammed Idris of Djibouti, and in the presence of Peace and Security Council members, African Union member states, as well as our institutional partners. We really received encouraging and constructive feedback, primarily around the importance of African research organizations really documenting and narrating the story and the work of African institutions. And also an important observation was also made by Her Excellency Ambassador Catherine Mwangi, Ambassador of Kenya, on the significant role of the handbook on knowledge production. Primarily, if I may use her words, the handbook demystifies the work of the PSC and how the council functions and how it makes its decisions. So today, we have the honor and privilege to publicly launch our handbook with the PRC chairperson, Ambassador of South Africa, His Excellency Ambassador Edward Makaya, and Her Excellency Ambassador Catherine Mwangi, Ambassador of Kenya, and member of the Peace and Security Council. Shortly, I will give the floor to Dr. Salamon Derso, Founding Director of Amani Africa. And after his welcoming remarks and our esteemed ambassadors, our esteemed speakers, Ambassador Makaya and Ambassador Mwangi will deliver their statements. And following the two statements, Dawit Yerga, who is the Director General for International Organizations from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia, will share his rich insights on the work of the two councils, the UN Security Council and the Peace and Security Council. Mainly, who will be doing the comparison of the experiences of the two councils. We will then conclude by the statement from our long-standing institutional partner from the Embassy of Switzerland. We have Dr. Jean-Marc, who's the acting head of mission. And finally, we will open the floor for a question and answer session. Kindly raise your hands and let us know whenever you would like to speak. And now I would like to give the floor to Salamon for his welcoming remarks.
We can't hear you, Dr. Salamon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, David. Sorry about that. I would like to thank Bitania, today's host of our webinar. I also would like to indicate that we have a very distinguished speakers for today's launch of the African Union Peace and Security Council Handbook, Guide on the Council's procedure, practice and traditions. We couldn't have asked for a better lineup of speakers than this one. I would therefore like to reiterate Bitania's gratitude to each and every one of you. Of course, I would have to single out Her Excellency Ambassador Catherine, who have been a long-standing source of encouragement, inspiration, and support for the work of Amani Africa, and His Excellency Ambassador Makaya for his presence today, chairperson of the PRC and PR of South Africa, who, despite his very busy schedule as the chair of the PRC, found that this to be a very useful engagement, and we would like to express our gratitude once again. Of course, to Dawit, as well as to Jean-Marc, for your continued support and friendship with Amani Africa. And Dawit will, based on his experience of having been with the PSC and having been with the UN Security Council, will reflect on the contribution of this handbook. So let me just go straight to the welcoming statement. Often I say, perhaps coming from a tradition in Ethiopia, where I have been brought up, having been told by my grandmother, who have been brought me up, saying that don't speak loudly about yourself and about you. I often don't like to speak about what we do and how best it is, and so on and so forth. I often say, let our work speak for itself. But on a day like this one, I think it's important that we say a few things about Amani Africa for the benefit of everyone who is attending this event. Amani Africa Media and Research Services is an independent policy research, training, and consulting think tank which works on Africa's multilateral policy processes with a focus on the African Union and its peace and security work. Amani Africa is the first Ethiopian-based Pan-African non-academic independent think tank dedicated to undertaking policy analysis and research, training and policy development and implementation, as well as technical support with primary focus on the African Union and its Peace and Security Council. As such, Amani Africa offers a much needed platform for direct conversation and exchange between policy research and analysis on the one hand, and the policy process that regularly unfolds from the headquarters of the African Union and the diplomatic capital of Africa, Addis Ababa. Amani Africa is conceived and established out of a sheer conviction that the African Union system will benefit immensely from the technical and knowledge-based policy research and analysis work and input of independent policy research organizations. We in Africa have top-notch researchers, analysts, and knowledge producers whose expertise and contribution should be harnessed towards fulfilling the aspirations and ambitions of the people of our continent to live a life free from fear, free from want. Through our work, we hope to make a humble contribution for facilitating the harnessing of the top-notch research, analysis, and knowledge of African experts, and for telling the story about the work and the role of Africa's multilateral policy processes anchored on the African Union and its Peace and Security Council. In carrying out our work, we are driven by and aim to realize our motto of excellence in the service of Africa and the dignity of its peoples. Accordingly, we always strive to deliver our work credibly through evidence-based and non-partisan research, constructive collaboration that is in accord with the independence required for making objective research, technical support, and training outputs. At Amani Africa, we aim to contribute to and support the Pan-African aspiration of a peaceful, prosperous, and integrated Africa through research, training, strategic communications, technical advisory support, and convening and facilitation. Over the past 3 years, Amani Africa has come to provide useful analysis through its regular publication insights on the PSC, which provides succinct analysis as input for issues on the agenda of the sessions of the PSC. The collaboration with and the technical input Amani Africa provides to monthly chairs and the thematic research reports it produces also lends further support for the continental peace and security agenda. Amani Africa has also provided useful contribution directly to the sessions of the PSC when invited to make presentation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, through its convening, Amani Africa also offers public forums for facilitating policy dialogue on current issues of topical significance for Africa's multilateral policy processes. Expanding on and consolidating its existing work, last year in September, Amani Africa also successfully launched its training institute, offering advanced training on the African Union. As an institute with intimate knowledge on the PSC and its work, Amani Africa notes over the course of the past decade and a half existence of the PSC, the work of the PSC had expanded and the working process of the PSC have also become more refined. PSC has also become the most prominent AU body, and in particular, the engine of the African peace and security architecture. While there is increasing knowledge on the PSC, including its efforts for maintaining peace and security in Africa, a lot remains unknown, not only among the general public, but also experts in the field of peace and security in Africa on the PSC structures, tools, processes, working methods, and how the PSC discharges its functions. The resources that are available on the workings of the PSC are often to be found in-house, particularly passed through word of mouth by the members of the PSC. And if it is to be found in writing, it's scattered in diverse sources and hence are fragmented and suffer from major gaps. It's important that the PSC and its work is documented, the knowledge on the PSC and its work is analyzed and told systematically to help enrich understanding on this august body and fill in major gaps in the knowledge about this very important organ of our union. The existence of such a systematically organized presentation of analysis of the PSC, how it works, and its work also contributes towards enhancing the effective participation of member states of the PSC, but also the effective engagement of other stakeholders with the work of the PSC. Through the production of the African Union Peace and Security Council Handbook, Amani Africa makes this important landmark contribution by producing such a systematically organized research work on the PSC, how it works, and on its work. The contribution can be seen in two ways. First, it makes significant contribution in documenting and producing knowledge on the PSC and its work. Accordingly, as Her Excellency Ambassador Catherine of Kenya has pointed out in her foreword to the handbook, it serves as a useful standard point of reference that helps us for our engagement in the PSC and others in their appreciation of the PSC and its work. End of quote. Second, produced by an African institution that has developed intimate expertise on the PSC, this handbook also serves the important purpose of Africans not only producing knowledge on their institutions, but also telling their stories through their institutions as an important contribution for projecting African perspectives on the promotion of peace and security. Of course, in telling you all of these, I don't wish to say that at the time of the establishment of Amani Africa, we had the full knowledge of how, in such a short period of time, we would come to establish ourselves as a policy research organization of distinction for its work on the AU and its Peace and Security Council. The journey we have had so far has been very challenging, very humbling, and also extremely gratifying. We didn't reach this milestone simply because of our sheer hard work. Without a doubt, we worked very, very hard, spent many sleepless nights. But we reached this point because of the immense collaboration and support that we have received during the past 3 years. None of what we have accomplished and what I have outlined above, none of what we aspire to achieve is realized without the collaboration and support from member states of the PSC, the wider members of the African Union, the African Union Commission, including notably the Peace and Security Department. We couldn't have delivered on what we have sought to accomplish, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends of Amani, without the support of Amani Africa's partners. Today is not only a day for making this critical milestone on the delivery of this landmark work, but also for giving thanks to all who believed in and joined during the past 3 years Amani Africa's journey. I would like to thank, as I started doing at the beginning of my speech, for the long-standing support and continued encouragement and collaboration, as well as partnership. Ambassador Catherine, who was among the first members of the PRC to pay a visit to our humble office and who has been a constant source of support for Amani Africa's work, who we like to consider as a very distinguished friend of our research work. Her presence today is just one manifestation of this. Thank you so much, Ambassador Catherine, also for having your name to be identified with our inaugural handbook by writing the foreword to this handbook. I also wish to thank Ambassador Makaya for joining us this morning, for co-launching with Her Excellency, Ambassador Catherine, this handbook, in a clear testimony of the importance that he attaches to this work and to today's occasion, despite his extremely busy schedule as the chairperson of the Permanent Representatives Committee of the African Union. Indeed, for me, it is also a manifestation of the long-standing friendship and collaboration I have had over the years with the Embassy of South Africa, and indeed with South Africa. I did my studies in South Africa, so I have a special bond and relationship with South Africa. I wish to recall also that Ambassador Makaya's predecessor, Ambassador Ndumiso, was among the leading members of the PRC, who expressed his confidence from the get-go in Amani Africa when we first launched our first and flagship work, Insights on the PSC. Ambassador Makaya, I sincerely thank you for honoring us with your presence today, continuing the close partnership with the Embassy of South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I also wish to thank our partners who, from the very beginning, expressed their confidence in the plan and the proposal that we had for establishing a very distinguished research work on the African Union multilateral processes with a focus on the Peace and Security Council. I wish to, in particular, express my appreciation and deep thanks to the Embassy of Switzerland and the Embassy of Germany, who are the first two institutional partners who have supported us in getting us off the ground and who continue to be with us all the 3 years. I also wish to acknowledge and appreciate the other partners who joined us along the way, particularly the Embassy of the United Kingdom and the Embassy of Finland. Without your support, we couldn't have reached this milestone, and therefore we thank you for your support and collaboration. I also wish to express my deep appreciation to a number of people today, including colleagues in the Peace and Security Department, from the Director for Peace and Security, Dr. Kambuzi, who also was generous in making time to read the draft handbook and write the introduction for the handbook. We thank Dr. Kambuzi for his confidence in Amani Africa as well. We also would like to thank the heads of the Peace and Security Secretariat, currently acting head, Nema, and her predecessor, Amadou, as well as other staff of the Secretariat, including Simon. We thank them very much for their constant support and collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, I wish to end here and wish us all a very successful deliberation and launch of this event. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Simon, for the welcoming remarks and also for delving further in what we do as Amani Africa, and also the importance of I also want to reiterate the appreciation for all partners who really believed in the work of Amani Africa. And I would like to also now welcome His Excellency Ambassador Makaya. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Program Director. Good morning. Thank you very much for giving us the floor. Let me first recognize the founding director of this important institute, Dr. Solomon. My dear sister Catherine, esteemed guests that are here. Let me just right at the beginning confess how I got to be here. I got to be here purely because of the two individuals. First is my dear sister Catherine. When I learned that she wanted me to be part of this, I had no choice but to accede to that because of the special relationship that exists between our embassies and of course our two countries, and at a personal level. So that's the reason why I thought I needed to be here. Also, I needed to be here purely because Dr. Solomon, like his Prime Minister, had an opportunity to study in the Republic of South Africa. So I came here purely because I take him as my brother. And I just want to encourage him that his Prime Minister studied in South Africa, now he's the Prime Minister. Who knows in future, who knows in future what would happen, Dr. Solomon. Keep on, dream on, my brother, it might come, it might come. Colleagues, I just wanted to first express our profound gratitude for having been invited to this important launch. We thank you profoundly for inviting us to this occasion. At the outset, let me congratulate Amani Africa for being able, in a scholarly manner, develop this handbook on the AU peace and security. The handbook is a clear guide on the peace and security, its origin, mandate, and working method. It has been crafted in an user-friendly manner, even for those who are lazy to read. It's obvious, therefore, that this book is the fruit of constant interaction, cooperation, and collaboration between the peace and security and Amani Africa. This, of course, is in keeping with the protocol establishing the peace and security. That protocol, particularly Article 20, correctly recognizes the truism that the realization of peace, stability, requires collective effort and active participation of all Africans from all spheres of life. Let me also take this opportunity to salute my dear sister, Ambassador Catherine, for her commendable effort in the preparation of this handbook. We thank you, my sister, and we congratulate you. This important gesture will go into your history in your deployment to this country, Addis Ababa. Colleagues, we are gathered here this morning in this ancient city of Addis Ababa, a city where the OAU was established, a city that has got profound meaning to many of us on the continent. It is so good, therefore, that today, in this great city of Addis, we are launching this handbook. A handbook about an important organ of our glorious union. An organ that was agreed upon during the Transition Summit and in Transition Summit and inaugural summit of the AU in Durban in July 2002. We recall vividly, those of us who were at that summit, that indeed, when we met in Durban in that year, we were clear as Africans that we are now going to change the way we do things. We were going to work not only as member states, but we also needed to work with all the sectors of our societies, civil society in particular. So that seminar summit in Durban, among others, adopted the Constitutive Act as a supreme law of the continent. This book is being launched during a year we set out to silence the guns. The 2020 theme of the year, silencing the guns, creating conducive environment, conditions for Africa's development, calls upon all Africans, literally all Africans, to contribute to this strategic objective. In this regard, we want to acknowledge the role of research institutes like Amani Africa. Resolving conflicts in our beloved continent is going to require that all of us work together to achieve this. Necessarily, therefore, the peoples of Africa must play an active role in the conflict prevention, conflict resolution, and post-conflict reconstruction and development. We cannot, as member states, even for a minute, hope that we will on our own resolve the conflicts without the active involvement of the civil society, without the active involvement of all Africans. Civil society plays a critical role in building national cohesion, performing the duties of checks and balances in our democracies, through monitoring government policies and actions, and most importantly, advocating the rights of our people. Let me, as I'm about to conclude, make this point that this handbook is an arsenal for all the peoples of Africa to use to analyze and understand the peace and security. We request and encourage Amani Africa to ensure that this important handbook is widely distributed to the continent, to the universities and institutions. Our students from all over the continent should find this as a useful tool to understand their own continent. Not only their own continent, but also understand the key organ of our glorious union. We also want to advise Amani Africa to also ensure that this important handbook is also shared with regional economic communities and regional mechanisms. Our colleagues in our secretariats in these regional economic communities and regional mechanisms should familiarize themselves with this important handbook. As I said, the peoples of Africa in the past 2 years, the young peoples of Africa have risen up. They are calling for what they call decolonization of their education. What a better way for Amani Africa to empower them, to provide them with great knowledge about peace and security with the release and the launch of this handbook. This handbook should propel all our research institutions, our universities, not only to contribute to academic analysis, but most importantly, to contribute critically to the advancement of Pan-African knowledge development. The time for Africa has come. The time for our continent has come. We need to act together to build a bright future. We need to work with all the governments on the continent, parliaments, civil society in the broadest sense of the word, and the cultural workers for a better Africa. I wish you, colleagues of Amani Africa, a bright future. I commit myself to joining my dear sister, Ambassador Catherine, to work collaboratively with you as one of the prime and premier research institutions on the continent, so telling that within the shortest period of time of your existence, you have been able to make this profound contribution to the knowledge development of our continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Makaya. That's much appreciated, and thank you so much for the profound words and for really raising this very critical points around the need to have this inclusive nature of involving various actors, citizens, civil society organizations in advancing the continental peace and security agenda and the stability of the continent. That is really important. And also in terms of actively involving in the full cycle of conflict prevention, management, and post-conflict reconstruction. And as you rightly said, this is a great tool for researchers, for students in advancing knowledge, very like an African-centered knowledge that is centered within the values of African culture. Thank you so much for those words. And now I would like to welcome and to invite Her Excellency Ambassador Catherine Mwangi. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Bitania, our program moderator. And good morning, a very good morning to Amani Africa, founding director, my brother and friend, Dr. Solomon Daso, Bitania, and the entire Amani Africa team. And a profound good morning to my chair, the chair of the PRC, Ambassador Makaya, a dear brother, dear friend, and an excellent leader. Thank you really for honoring this activity. And I don't even think that Solomon appreciates just how busy you are. We're in the middle of the PRC. And it is absolutely a great honor that the chairperson was able to join us. And then really, we thank you for your wisdom, even for the inspiration that you have brought forth as you spoke a few minutes ago. You've situated the continent. You know, you have basically gone around the continent and brought everything right back to this handbook. The importance of peace and security, the importance of cooperation, the importance of everybody recognizing the role not just of the AU or the Peace and Security Council, but the role of every citizen in the continent in ensuring peace, security, and stability for our continent. So I am delighted that really you did, you agreed to join, and obviously delighted that you honored this invitation, especially because of the relationship that we have as countries, as missions, and individually. So really just to say very briefly, because my chair has spoken and spoken, really I think on behalf of any of us who are in Addis and working for our continent, he has really stated everything that any of us could say. But just to say that I'm delighted to be part of this morning's activity and to have the opportunity to just say a few words as we launch this handbook. And to say how honored really I am to have been given the opportunity to author the foreword. It's a huge privilege and a huge honor. And to also say that it's been a great experience to be able to cooperate and to really engage with Amani. As you will those who are on the platform, especially in the Peace and Security Council, who engage with, especially, Dr. Solomon. And I assure you, Ambassador Makaya, that when you do engage with Dr. Solomon, you will find the experience rewarding because of the effort that he makes in ensuring that he gathers and has information that is useful. It's value adding and helps us, especially at the Peace and Security Council, when we discuss and consider the various situations in the continent. So it has been for me an honor and a privilege and indeed a pleasure to be able to engage with Amani. as has been said, really the Amani, Dr. Solomon, Britannia and your group, you're really to be commended, because in this very short period of time, you've established yourselves as an organization, an institute, a think tank that is worthy of its name. And your flagship publication, Insights on the PSC, has been extremely instrumental in advising and informing PSC members and PSC discussions. Of course, as was mentioned by Ambassador Makaya, we as the PSC recognize the imperative of engagement with civil society. As Ambassador Makaya said, it is contained in Article 20 of the PSC protocol. And this was obviously, it was predetermined that there was a specific role for civil society to engage, not just with the Peace and Security Council, but with peace and security issues of the continent. So you have taken a lead role in this matter, and we as the Peace and Security Councils and individual member states, who are in Addis Ababa, and in future, the wider Africa will be well informed to engage with your organization when dealing with this matters. So really, again, just to commend you and to congratulate you and to encourage you. And as Ambassador Makaya has said, do not be limited in the distribution of your work, not just this handbook, but your thinking and all the publications that many of us are aware of. Do not limit yourselves in its distribution. It is work that is of value. It is work that every African needs an opportunity to be engaged with. So going forward, as we've agreed on that, this is the first edition, and there'll be subsequent editions as you update the issues of the Peace and Security Council workings and other issues that you may find relevant. So we look forward to the next editions, but even as more so that you would distribute your work further afield, in Africa. So again, congratulations, high commendations, and we encourage you and continue to commit to being your partner. So thank you very much, and a very good morning to us all.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Catherine. It's always a pleasure hearing you speak, and I would like to say thank you for acknowledging our effort, our work, and for being Amani's biggest ally, and you continue to support us, and for your continued support and encouragement. And the point you raised regarding dissemination of our publications, which His Excellency Ambassador Makaya also mentioned, it's well noted, and we will also work towards that. And now I would like to give the floor to David. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Britannia. Thank you so much, Dr. Solomon and the Amani Africa team. A very good morning to Excellencies and colleagues. I'm indeed very pleased to join this public launching of the AUPSC Handbook by Amani Africa. I wish to join those who spoke before me in congratulating the team for this important contribution. I agree with everything that they have said eloquently. It is indeed very encouraging to see Amani Africa growing from strength to strength in such a short span of time, expanding its work and providing greater support to the AUPSC through its independent research, analysis, and insights. There is no greater satisfaction than to see such Pan-African civil society and policy research institutions in engaging in the documentation, analysis, and promotion of the work of the AU and its policy organs. Unfortunately, we may not have many of those institutions, and that's why we need to support and encourage think tanks like Amani Africa. I have had the opportunity to serve both in the AUPSC and the UN Security Council, and I understand the significance of this handbook in a number of levels. That's why I want to highlight some of the points in my brief intervention. It is indeed fitting that we are having this public launch at a time when the annual consultation between the two councils is taking place. Therefore, 4 points I would like to raise. One, as Ambassador Catherine rightly said, the work of Amani Africa has been found to be very, very useful. This handbook will be particularly useful reference for members of the AU PSC and indeed the wider membership of the African Union. No doubt it comes in handy for newly elected members of the AU PSC to have a better understanding of the functions of the Council, its working methods and practices. In the Security Council, there was what we call Note 507 on working methods. This is an important document which was compiled based on the working methods and practices of the Security Council. It was done by the informal working group on documentation and other procedural questions. Unfortunately, there is no such committee at the AU PSC. As I understand, the working methods are documented through the various conclusions reached at the Council's retreats. There is no one consolidated document like Note 507 that we have in the UN Security Council. I believe this handbook somehow contributes to filling that gap by providing a comprehensive overview of the procedures, practices, and traditions of the AU PSC. Second, as you know, the AU PSC Secretariat has relatively smaller staff. The work of the AU PSC has expanded over the years, and the Secretariat is obviously overwhelmed by the day-to-day work of assisting the smooth functioning of the Council. Therefore, I believe it will be of great help to the Secretariat that Amani Africa produced such a handbook, documenting the AU PSC procedures, practices, and traditions in a comprehensive manner. In New York, even though the Security Council Affairs Division, what we call SCAD, has a bigger number of staff and it produces what is known as the rapporteur of the practice of the Security Council, it still benefits from the contributions of various think tank institutions in terms of analysis and research. As a matter of fact, they work very closely with these institutions and give them the relevant information and insight for further research and analysis. Therefore, I'm very glad to know that the AU PSC Secretariat did the same in terms of the support to the preparation of this handbook. Third, keeping institutional memory alive is absolutely the key to the effective functioning of the AU PSC. Members of the AU PSC may not have the necessary institutional memory, and this is a particular challenge. No doubt, the AU PSC has, as I said, evolved over the years since its formation 15 years ago. There are so many decisions that have been adopted by the Council in promoting and advancing peace and security.
Sécurité de l'UA à l'échelle de notre continent.
When and how and under what context decisions were made, and understanding the evolving working methods is absolutely important to members of the Council to be able to effectively contribute to the work of the Council. The comprehensive data, information, and analysis provided by Amani Africa and this handbook will be a useful reference in this regard. In New York, even though some members have the necessary resource and expertise, they still benefit from the massive amount of data, information, and analysis provided by think tank institutions in New York. SCAD, which has relatively larger resource and expertise at its disposal, is also very grateful to the think tank institutions for their contributions in keeping the institutional memory of the Council alive. Fourth, facilitating of further research by the academia. The other issue that we need to look at is how we can popularize the work of the African Union in its various organs. One of the fundamental objectives of the transformation of the OAU to the African Union is to bring the organization closer to the people. As Ambassador Makaya has rightly alluded to, we need to encourage students in the universities and researchers to study, research, and analyze about the work of the AU and its policy-making process. the AU PSC handbook produced by Amani Africa will make an important contribution in facilitating the realization of this objective by providing a useful background and comprehensive overview of the work of the AU PSC. Having said this, let me once again commend the Amani Africa team for the new milestone that they have achieved. I wish to conclude by expressing confidence that the team will continue to attain new heights in their important contribution in support of the work of the AU PSC. I wish them the best of luck and success in their endeavor and pledge our continued support and cooperation with them. I thank you.
Thank you very much, David. What you also, the discussions you made around the comparison between the two councils is very important. And it's a very interesting intervention as well. And also the fact that given the broad mandate and the very important mandate that the Peace and Security Council plays, it's always good to have more support in addition to the existing formal mechanisms of the African Union Peace and Security Department and the various departments of the commissions. Of course, think tanks and research institutions always play an additional role in supporting this great mandate of the Peace and Security Council. And the idea of bringing, of course, the union closer to the people is also the aspiration which is reflected in the Constitutive Act as well as in Agenda 2063 in all the fundamental kind of tools and policy instruments. Thank you very much, David. That's much appreciated. And now finally, I would like to give the floor to our institutional partner, Dr. Jean-Marc. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Bitania. First of all, let me thank you very much, Amani, for the invitation, and I'm very happy to participate in the public launch of this PSC handbook, which was rightly said is a very important document. Let me also especially thank the chair of the PRC, Ambassador Makaya, for his participation, and also Ambassador Catherine Mwangi for having accepted to participate in the public launch of this PSC handbook. The presence of both ambassadors, despite their very busy schedule, is a proof of the sense of ownership of the handbook by AU member states in general and by PSC member states in particular. Well, here on a more personal note, it's also a very great pleasure to see the new Director General for International Organizations for the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dawit, on this panel. And Dawit has once again shown how that he's a great expert in multilateral affairs. As we're all aware, these are challenging times for multilateralism. And despite the current circumstances, it's important also to note that the AU and the PSC have never stopped working and fulfilling their mandates in these very challenging times. And for these reasons, it's also very important to deepen our understanding about the AU and the PSC. And I think with this handbook, Amani Africa has also filled a gap in the knowledge and understanding of the Council. From the start, Switzerland has been very interested in supporting this document. It is basically coherent with our engagement in promoting a better understanding and knowledge about the bodies in charge of peace and security. As Solomon has said, we are also one of the founding partners of another instrument, an important one provided by Amani, that has been mentioned previously. It's the Insights on the PSC, which was successfully launched 2 years ago at the Swiss Embassy here in Addis, together with our German colleagues. I will now just give a few seconds to the interpreters to change the language, because I'm going to speak in French now. And I think this is also important. Je pense que, effectivement, en tant que pays,
as a francophone country, it's important that knowledge coming from the Council of Security, not only English here, reason why we have not only support the crafting of this handbook, But in the same vein, we will support the translation of this handbook into French. To conclude, I would like to also pay an homage to the excellent work conducted by Amani, but also since 2 years they've worked. During the 2 years, Amani was indicated already that they've worked. They are quite a reference when we come to peace and security upon African Union. I would like to thank you and to thank you also to receive with joy that important guide and also French translation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Jean-Marc, and for the continued support on the completion of this handbook, but also, as you mentioned, our flagship project, Insights on the PSC. It's very much appreciated, and thank you very much for your intervention as well. Now I would like to open the floor to participants and anyone who would like to pose a question to the speakers or to make any kind of comments or any kind of questions. Please let us know. Here I have one. Okay, Embassy of Kenya. You have the floor.
It's definitely not me. So unless somebody from my embassy is asking a question.
Okay, so hand was raised. That's why I was allowing to speak. So if there is anyone that would like to speak, please let us know. Otherwise, if there is any final words from our speakers, and if you'd like to take floor, maybe Solomon, you can also respond to some of the points that were raised. Okay, we have, yes, please. Can you hear us? I'm not sure. Okay. You have the floor. Can you hear us? Okay. Okay, I don't see anyone from the participants. Yeah, but they're not talking. Oh. Oh, we have, okay, someone from Sweden, but we can't hear you. Can you maybe unmute?
No, I think it's from our side.
From our side. Okay.
They said that they hear him. We can't hear him.
Oh, let me just okay then.
Have you opened your mic?
Yeah.
I think.
Can you kindly speak again? I can't hear you. Maybe if you can speak again, please. Yeah. have. Okay, John, I'm sorry, I can't hear you from my side. I think there is a bit of technical problem. You can maybe put, yes, okay. Okay, now it's fine. Okay, John, can you please speak now?
That's okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think there is a bit of a challenge from my side. I'm trying to unmute you, but I can't hear you. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think okay. This is very, so John, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Maybe if you can maybe give us the comments in the chat box and I'll try to fix it in the meantime. Yeah, Salomon, you can.
Okay, sincere apologies, actually. This time for co-launching Amani Africa Handbook on the Peace and Security Council. And of course, I think importantly, I would like to acknowledge with a great deal of appreciation what he has outlined in terms of the importance of this handbook and its contribution, not only to the Peace and Security Council and its member states, but also to the African Union and indeed the wider African public. First, in understanding our union and the contribution and work of our union and its organs, as well as through knowing the contribution and work of our union and its organs for the wider African public to effectively engage in the processes of the African Union and indeed contribute towards delivering on that motto of the African Union of bringing the Union closer to the people. I think we thank you very much for that. And indeed, your great advice and counsel, Ambassador Makaya, for us to continue on our work towards fulfilling the decolonization of knowledge production in order to ensure that African perspectives and indeed knowledge production is imbued with the lived realities and experiences of the continent and the aspirations of its people. I am really happy that indeed I fully agree with you. If there is one thing that is critical for Africa, indeed for all people in the world, it is the possibility of being able to determine for themselves the direction of their development. And central to that is being able to exercise agency over the production of knowledge. And in a humble way, the Amani Africa, through its work, tries to contribute towards this goal and agenda of African solutions to African problems. And indeed, the grand agenda of silencing the guns, which is the focus of the theme of the year, as you rightly pointed out, Ambassador Makaya, for 2020. And one way that institutions like Amani Africa contribute to this agenda of silencing the guns is through the production of knowledge on the peace and security agenda of the Union, on the work of the Union on peace and security matters, and also in providing policy options towards the resolution of the peace and security challenge on the African continent. And indeed, through this handbook, we are paying homage to fulfilling this responsibility of research organizations, and also indeed contributing to the understanding of our Union and its policy-making process by the wider African public, particularly by universities and research organizations, as well as students across Africa. And we will indeed follow your counsel for distributing widely this handbook. And also, Ambassador Catherine, I can't thank you enough, really, for showing confidence in the work that we have initiated. And I'm happy to say that we haven't failed you, and we have indeed tried our very best to ensure that your name is associated with a product that you would be proud of. So thank you very much, Ambassador, for associating yourself with this product. And indeed, I agree with Ambassador Makaya. It would be one of the things, even after you have left Addis, that will remain here when the name of the Peace and Security Council is raised. So we are happy also at Amani to associate ourselves with your name as well, Ambassador, and indeed for your continuous encouragement and support, which is the source of inspiration for that. And through you, to get the commitment of Ambassador Makaya, indeed the chairperson of our Permanent Representatives Committee of the African Union, is really a great honor. And indeed, Ambassador Makaya, you are right in saying that you can consider me as a product of South Africa as well. That is how I see myself, not just me, my wife, my daughter, we have a very special bond with South Africa. So I'm happy that we are continuing with that through enhancing collaboration with you. And indeed, we will take on your offer to collaborate with Amani Africa, and we will knock on your door, Ambassador, God willing. David, I would like to also mention about David because David has been, while in New York, before going to New York and after returning from New York, he has been one of the confidants of Amani Africa, who have always been there to guide us and provide us feedback on how we are doing and how we can improve, and the consultations as well. And from time to time, our partner and associate as well in our work, he has also been making even tangible contributions for the research work that we do through direct research as well. So the points that David raised, indeed, in terms of also comparing the research scene in New York with the research scene here in Africa, here in Addis. And when I say at the first non-academic independent research organization for Amani Africa, working exclusively on the African Union and its peace and security work here in Addis, it is because, indeed, as David said, there are no many Ethiopian-based and Ethiopian-originated institutions with an exclusive, dedicated expertise and work on the African Union. So, indeed, we also saw it as a challenge, as a team, that it is befitting for Addis Ababa, as Ambassador Makaya said, the capital city, the diplomatic capital of Africa, to have an institution dedicated to producing knowledge on the African Union. Jean-Marc, I think we would like to thank you for betting on our proposal, and I'm sure you also have managed to see this success by joining the journey of Amani Africa. And indeed, we have a very productive relationship. So we thank you for that. I think there is, okay, there is, I think, a comment on the side. So maybe, Bitania, if you wish to just read.
Okay, I think Jean-Marc, you mentioned you want to take the floor.
Yes, je vais le faire en français. C'est simplement une question qui, j'espère, ne va pas vous indisposer, mais il y a beaucoup de gens qui aimeraient savoir comment...
So many people who would like to know how the PSC Handbook can be obtained.
Et je reprends
how can they get a copy of the PSC manual? And now, to answer the question of solid food, how can we get this precious document, this precious manual? How can it be received? Thank you.
Merci Jean-Marc, merci d'avoir posé ma question. Donc,
thank you, Jean-Marc, for having posed my question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Salihu, and apologies for earlier. Regarding the question, I think we also mentioned this, I think, in the invitation, and the publication is available in our office, and participants that are interested can collect it at any time. Just kindly, please let me know in advance so that we can also make arrangements So if there are no further questions, or if there is no one that would like to make maybe final kind of remarks, I'll just take this chance. Okay, His Excellency Ambassador, if you would like to speak, you have the floor.
No, I'm not going to speak, my dear sister. Just because Dr. Solomon in his remarks, I think, made a point that Ambassador Catherine was one of the first ambassadors to visit the offices of Amani Africa. I would be pleased to visit that office. Please send me the address of the office. That's the commitment I'm making. I'll visit that office in due course. Otherwise, thank you very much once more, and it's a pleasure to interact with you, Dr. Solomon, and all the colleagues. Good luck once more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Ambassador Makai. It will be an honor to have you in our office, and we look forward to that. Please, Ambassador Catherine, if you would like to have any final word, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, but really just to say this has been a wonderful opportunity for us to engage on this platform, and indeed to be able to launch this handbook to the wider public, and again to just continue to encourage you and to recommit my willingness to cooperate with yourselves and to support in any way that I can. And again, to thank, of course, the chair of the PRC, His Excellency Ambassador Makaya, for having taken this time really to join us in this activity. And Dawit, good to meet you, although online, I'm sure we will meet. And of course to Jean-Marc and all those who are on this platform, and wishing us all, you know, a good day, a good productive day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Catherine. Please, Dawit, if you have any last words, please, I would like to give you the floor as well.
No, thank you so much, Bitania. I was really very happy to hear Excellencies Ambassador Makaya and Ambassador Catherine speak in such eloquence in support of Amani Africa. It is very much reassuring, and I hope with that support, I think you will have enough strength to continue the good work that you are doing. So I don't have much to add. I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dawit. Jean-Marc, if you have any additional comments.
Oui, tout à fait. On va finir en français. Simplement pour aussi remercier Solomon de l'excellente coopération durant ces longs mois et ces dernières années. C'est vrai que quand on a commencé avec Amani, moi je me souviens, je suis arrivé ici en 2017, et puis quelques jours ou quelques semaines après, Solomon m'avait présenté son projet, et c'est vrai que j'ai tout de suite été assez intéressé.
Quickly, and I was interested and also support that project. I'm quite happy. 3 years afterwards, yes, we have that handbook. So I wanted to also indicate that this was like a goal to reach. I want to thank the colleagues of this capital city. They believing in Amani. Switzerland is believing in Amani as well. We are quite happy to support this PSC handbook. Furthermore, I want to thank the colleagues for the Organization International that are supporting PSC. Thank you very much, and good day for everybody.
Thank you, Jean-Marc.
I forgot to add one point, if you allow me.
Please, you have the.
Thank you so much. Yes, Ethiopia was replaced by South Africa when in 2019. Now Kenya will be replacing South Africa. So really, we are looking very much forward to Kenya's engagement in the Security Council and in advancing the cause of Africa. We are here to support you. I look forward to working closely with you in sharing our experiences, Ambassador Catherine. And thank you for meeting you virtually. Thank you so much and all the very best.
Thank you so much, David. That is a very good coincidence today that we have both Ambassador of South Africa, Ambassador of Kenya, and you as well, and for the important point you just made. I think I don't see anyone who would like to take the floor at the moment. And I would just like to take this moment to really, once again, to thank our esteemed speakers and for really making time in spite of this very busy schedule, PRC Chairperson, His Excellency Ambassador Makaya, as well as our ally Ambassador Catherine as well, for making time and for participating and for the really active engagement and for the continued positive feedback for Amani Africa, not just in this handbook, but also in the overall strategic partnership and for the continuous encouragement that you continue to provide. Thank you very much for our esteemed speakers. I would like to thank Dawit as well and Jean-Marc as well. Thank you so much for making time, and for our participants as well and who are present today. I would like to say thank you, and on behalf of the Amani Africa team.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Ambassador. Have a very good day and productive PRC session. Thank you. Have a good day to all of you. Yeah.